Republicans are marching America to a painful government shutdown.
But we need traditional Republicans to break with MAGA extremists so we can keep the government open.
Republican shutdown will cost 6,306 of her constituents their paychecks.
Put the bill on the floor for an up or down vote so we can end this MAGA Republican nightmare. And if you don't, you own this government shutdown.
And we could put the threat of a shutdown behind us. Our agreement would keep the government open, provide emergency aid for communities battered by hurricanes and other natural disasters.
It's about the harm that House Republicans will do to the American people if the government shuts down.
One Democrat said to me they feel like they have a mandate from their constituents to shut down the government.
There are some raising the possibility of shutting down the government in March.
We will use whatever power we have, and fundamentally, we're not going to vote for something that undermines the American people.
To withhold votes, do Democrats have the stomach?
I certainly hope so. I know that I'm not going to vote for their proposal for sure.
Are you prepared to shut down the government, to join Democratic colleagues who want to stand in the way of keeping the government open?
Well, there are simply trying
yes?
So yes, look, if we have to take steps.
14 days from now, government shutdown is looming.
If we don't believe that we have a willing partner on the other side, then we need to stay united and not bail out President Trump.
And yet, at the same time, in order for a lot of voters to fully understand what Elon Musk and Donald Trump are doing, people are unfortunately going to have to feel some of that. And the only way that that happens is if the shutdown happens.
Once again, the Democrats are finding themselves in a no-win, lose-lose situation. I can't believe this party right now. I mean, I have literally never seen a political party in such an obvious doom loop as we're seeing with the Democrats. No matter what they double down on, it's a political disaster. As I'm sure you all know by now, the clock is Democrats in the Senate. Chuck Schumer have signaled that they will not vote for the continuing resolution that would keep the government funded, and therefore all non-essential departments and activities of the federal government will have to be shut down. Forget the fact that the CR is basically identical to the one that Schumer signed mere months ago. No, now that the orange man is in charge, this CR must be resisted at all costs. Now, there's a great piece on PJ Media by Chris Queen on how this looming government shutdown puts the Democrats entirely in a no-win situation. They are literally danged if they do, danged if they don't. So on the one hand, the continuing resolution gives the Democrats fits because it funds the government that the Trump administration is in charge of. And of course, that includes Elon's Doge, that includes Tom Homan's ICE. I mean, that prospect alone is enough to give Democrats nightmares, as Chris Queen points out. So that's why they don't want to fund the government. It's basically funding Trump, destroying everything they've worked decades to amass in the D.C. swamp. But on the other hand, shutting the government down isn't just a political loser for the Democrats in the eyes of most voters. We'll get to that in a mere moment. For the Democrats, there's perhaps an even more frightening scenario for the looming shutdown, and that involves who actually takes charge of the government in such a scenario. This is going to absolutely blow you away. It's going to show you exactly what the Democrats are really so freaked out about. But first, gang, as you know, the world is more uncertain than ever, and the way we understand it depends on the news we consume, with competing agendas, algorithm-driven echo chambers, and hidden biases shaping our perception. It's crucial to have the right tools to cut through all the noise. So that is why I rely on Ground News. It's a website and app that gathers stories from over 50,000 news sources worldwide, letting you compare coverage across the political spectrum and highlighting stories one side might be ignoring. See for yourself at ground.news/Steve. My favorite feature of Ground News is the blind spot feed. It shows you stories that are disproportionately reported by either the left or the right. I find it really helpful for gaining a balanced perspective in our hyper-polarized world. So, for example, here's a recent story that has no coverage on the right. Elon Musk calls Social Security the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time as calls mount to remove contribution caps for billionaires. And here's a story that's mostly ignored by left-leaning outlets. Honda to produce next Civic in Indiana, not Mexico, due to U.S. tariffs. Now, for both of these and for every story, Ground News gives you a breakdown of the sources covering it, the bias of the media outlets reporting across the left, center, and right, how reliable these sources have been in the past, and who owns them. This is the kind of news analysis you won't find anywhere else. Right now, my viewers can get 40% off the Unlimited Access Vantage plan. That's the one that I have. Make sure you subscribe using my link at ground.news/Steve. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code when signing up. That's ground.news/Steve. Now, if the government shuts down over a budget fight, this is the man who's going to actually take over. Meet Russ Vought, the director of the Office of Management and Budget. If the government shuts down, the OMB takes charge, which means that Russ Vought takes charge. Now, who, pray tell, is Russ Vought? Well, he is none other than the architect of the infamous Project 2025, the very blueprint for a MAGA takeover of the federal government that the political left has been hyperventilating over for the last year. Now, I mean, you literally can't make this stuff up. Just last month, the Democrats said that Vought was the single most dangerous of all of President Trump's cabinet picks, precisely because he was the one who was going to engineer a Christian nationalist takeover of the federal government through Project 2025. And guess who ends up taking over the government were it to shut down? Eric Erickson recognized the irony immediately. Democrats fell into the trap perfectly. If they agreed to fund the government, they'd fund deportations and DOGE. By refusing to fund the government, they're putting Russ Vought in charge of the shutdown government. Magic Mike Johnson created a brilliant trap. Fund Elon Musk or unleash Russ Vought. Either way, the Democrats lose. If they fund Musk and DOGE, they'll see a progressive uprising against them. If they shut down the government, they can be seen as fighters while Russ Vought cripples their governmental constituencies. Right now, Chuck Schumer and the Democrats seem inclined to unleash Russ Vought on the government, a fully empowered director of the Office of Personnel and Management who will leave open the monuments the tourists see and shutter all the parts of government Democrats love. And on top of all that, voters are only going to end up blaming the Democrats for the shutdown. 60% expect it to happen, that according to Mark Mitchell over at Rasmussen. And all indicators suggest that the Democrats are going to be blamed for it, especially in light of their pathetic performative antics during Trump's speech before the nation that the entire world saw. The Democrats literally have everything to lose in this. They're already ridiculously unpopular. The latest Quinnipiac gives them a 20% approval level. 20%, that's their lowest ever. The entire country has been watching their cringe-worthy resistance performance stunts every week since Trump took office. Who the heck do you think they're going to blame for this government shutdown? Especially when virtually every Republican voted for the bill, a CR that's identical to what the Democrats voted for just a few months ago. They are the ones who are clearly and objectively obstructing the CR bill, and they're going to be the ones who the vast majority of the country will blame if the government shuts down. A shutdown that ironically unleashes the very architect of the very Project 2025 on the entire federal government that the Democrats have always feared. Butter the popcorn, gang. This is about to get good. By the way, click on the link in the description below to get all these articles and tweets I reference throughout my videos emailed to you each and every day. You're going to love it. We want you to have the best resources out there to convince your family and your friends of this new MAGA super age that's rising here.